In the UK, there lived a man who survived for decades on a unique con, swindling over £1 million. His schemes were brilliant and untraceable, making it hard for families to even file reports, until the 9th victim's mother outsmarted him by offering cash, leading to his airport arrest. Facing charges, he stayed calm, cunning, and exploited loopholes, dodging 2 life sentences, cutting his time to 9 years. But even more shocking, after release, he lured away a single mother. Despite her kids' pleas and police warnings, the mother had only one reply: "I don't care. I know who I'm with." She even sued her own kids just to stay with him. Her 2 children kept waiting for her return. So, what really happened back then? Let's rewind to 2022 to see what magic this man possessed. Vitalot village sits in Corrèze, south of Paris. With under 200 people, very remote. Yet one household here seemed odd. Since moving in 2015, they kept dogs. Loving dogs isn't strange, but they constantly adopted more. Now owning 26 beagles. More dogs meant more noise. Since 2017, villagers wrote to police and officials, but the late-night barking was ignored. Locals noticed the woman never left home in 7 years. Never spoke to anyone, only walked dogs around the house. The man, however, was the opposite, often out, rarely home, always in sharp suits, driving an Audi. When villagers finally searched his name online, they were stunned. He claimed to be MI5, a professional con artist, a master manipulator. Villagers stormed City Hall, demanding action to rescue the poor woman. They even brought daily observation logs. On August 25, 2022, vets and police arrived to inspect all the dogs. At 3 p.m., the man arrived after a call. He immediately claimed to be ex-MI5. Police responded with, "Cut the crap. Hand over your passport." He froze for a few seconds. His usual trick failed. He knew he had to bolt. As 2 officers blocked his car, he slammed the gas, scraping one officer and breaking another's nose, then sped away. Police deployed all units and 2 helicopters. 5 days later, France issued a European warrant, publishing his car details for arrest. UK prosecutors opened an attempted murder probe. 8 days later, fleeing north on the E140 highway, Belgian police spotted his plates, arresting him and handing him to France. The 51-year-old British conman had nowhere left to hide. He was Robert Freegard. He drove intensely, neck craned forward. Freegard was born March 1, 1971. Raised in Derbyshire, constantly moving with his mother. Surviving on welfare, heavily spoiled. Robert loved lying since childhood, spinning wild tales with a straight face. But he was quiet, friendless, and poor at school. Dropping out at 15, he joined a youth program. After 2 years of carpentry, he started working. At 20, his charm won him a girlfriend, Allison, a teacher. 6 years older, she obeyed him completely, lending him £1,500, buying clothes. Robert pushed his luck. 9 months into dating, he broke into her home and stole her cards, spending £600. That ended their relationship. Allison took him to court. He faced theft charges twice, but avoided prison, mainly because he camped outside her window daily. Terrified, Allison dropped the money claim, moving over 60 kilometers to Newport. Yet even then, he followed her, continuing the threats. Clearly, he tasted the thrill of controlling others. In 1992, he bartended at the Swan Pub. He stayed to target students at nearby Harper Adams Agricultural College. Naive kids with little life experience. Easy marks. Robert's charm and confidence captivated many. Maria Hendy was one of them, a senior sharing a flat off campus. She visited the bar just to talk to him. Robert seized the chance. They started dating after Christmas. A month later, Robert met two roommates through Maria: John Atkinson and Sarah Smith. Both were agriculture students. With the stage set, Robert cooked up. A massive lie. On January 29, 1993, John was drinking. Robert asked him to stay after closing. Robert planned it, testing his lie, to see how far it would go. He pulled John aside and whispered, "Was your dad really your biological father?" "No, the IRA shot him dead for seeing something he shouldn't. Your college has the most fertilizer and diesel, perfect bomb ingredients. Your dad stumbled on their plot, so they silenced him forever." Gary was John's best Irish friend, who died 3 weeks prior. Of course, Robert was lying, but he nailed the details. Understanding human psychology, he knew John would skip class. Britain faced frequent IRA attacks then. No one was safe, with constant news coverage of bombings everywhere. Plus, 3 years prior at the college, police found rifles and ammo in a student's car, and 5 types of explosives. Though Kevin wasn't convicted, it added mystery to the campus, as if someone was watching it. More importantly, just yesterday, Harrods in London had been bombed by the IRA, injuring 4. Facts blended with lies seamlessly. Robert then led John to a prepared room. Dim light lit explosion photos and a briefcase, seemingly full of secrets. Finally, Robert revealed the truth. "I'm not who you think. I'm an MI5 agent, investigating the IRA. I suspect one is near you. Your record is clean. I need your help. The country needs you." This thrilled John, excited to be chosen. Soon, he faced bizarre orders, like posing as gay to find suspects. Over the next month, Robert crushed John's dignity. By late February, John was trapped, obeying every wild command, including wooing roommate Sarah. Robert reveled in it. 4 months before graduation, Robert warned John, "We're blown. We flee now, taking Sarah and Maria. They're targets too." He listed proof. "Your car was stolen. Sarah's windshield smashed. It's a warning. We can't tell the girls the truth. To keep them alive, we must lie." John obeyed instantly. He faked terminal liver cancer, convincing the girls to join a final trip. On the run, Robert visited parents, hinting at his real role. Sarah and Maria caught on. Robert was MI5. On March 18th in Warrington, Robert revealed the real reason. John wasn't dying. The IRA was hunting them, so no one could go home. Coincidentally, 2 days after they left Warrington, a bombing hit the town, killing 2 boys, injuring 56. This made John, Sarah, and Maria fully believe him. Actually, the whole country was on high alert, with monthly bombings. Extreme lies mixed with reality become impossible to spot. In June 1993, fleeing to Sheffield, the group hit a snag. Maria was pregnant by Robert, raising their escape costs. Robert devised a plan. He told the students the government wanted witness protection. A safe house in Sheffield was ready, but direct government funds could be tracked by the IRA, so for safety, he suggested they advance the cash. He'd track expenses, and the government would reimburse with interest. So John, Sarah, and Maria asked home for cash. While calling, Robert coached them. He mailed forged letters from superiors, to each family. John's family paid £39,000. Sarah's paid $18,800. All went into a police account. Guess whose account it was? He made John and Sarah work, handing over wages. John bartended. Sarah worked at a chip shop. Robert sold cars at a dealership. Why didn't Maria work? She had 2 daughters for him, needing care. To control his 3 pawns, Robert drilled them. Revealing anything meant death. To them all. He set 3 rules. 1. Use aliases. 2. No talking to each other. 3. No family contact, phones are tapped. Avoid police, refuse interviews, as it might be an MI5 loyalty test. Free from worry, Robert used stolen cash to upgrade into his ideal agent image. Custom suits, luxury watches, fast cars, 2 BMWs were in Maria's name. Since loans used her name, defaults were hers, leaving him untouched. He never cared about the kids. In 1997, learning of Maria's inheritance, he claimed common law marriage and changed his name, adding her surname to his. So Robert Freegard became Robert Hendy-Freegard. He drained everyone dry. John was squeezed completely, torn between parents' money and death threats. He grew depressed, fearing John might snap. Robert let him return home, but warned him he was still watched. As the IRA threat faded, John's family questioned things, making him think. Finally, late 1997, John rebelled for the first time in 5 years. Robert demanded he strip to talk and pay $50,000 more. John refused. After that, no life threats materialized. John finally freed himself. Next to escape was Maria. She lived in a filthy Sheffield flat with her girls. Robert refused to pay rent, getting them evicted. They crashed at Robert's mother's place. Until 2001, Robert let Maria go to marry another woman. Sarah wasn't so lucky. He needed a walking witness to con others. His victims went far beyond 3 students. At his peak, he juggled 5 women. "22-year-old Elizabeth Bartholomew sold cars. Newly married and unhappy. In 1995, Robert visited her shop. He sensed her distress instantly and deliberately approached her. Elizabeth liked the charming, gift-giving man. Predictably, they got together. Robert barely tried to build tension. Before revealing his spy cover, he warned her to avoid police. It worked perfectly. She believed everything. He had her save divorce money for him. Soon, Robert lost interest, finding a richer girlfriend. He threatened her with nude photos. "Stop bothering me, or your husband sees these." Elizabeth swallowed her pride, changing jobs and numbers. In 2000, needing cash, Robert returned, claiming, "I was wrong back then, but forced by circumstances. My agency ordered an emergency exit. I threatened you to protect you. If you still love me, let's reconcile. But first, you must cut ties with family and friends. Move to London for loyalty tests. Pass them and we marry." Devoted Elizabeth bought it, divorcing and reverting to her maiden name. She followed every fake test. First, loan £14,500 for their future home. Beyond that, Robert added psychological tests. To satisfy his dark whims, he'd fail her reports, imposing punishments like banning makeup, no tampons, no going home, Snipers are watching your place. Elizabeth slept on park benches daily. Sometimes she sneaked back at night, crawling in the dark to avoid snipers. Once, Robert forgot her for a week. When he returned, she was still on the bench, being tested. It was winter. Elizabeth wore just a t-shirt and jeans, surviving on bread and toilet water. Robert controlled her completely. Until police found her. "28-year-old Leslie Gardner was a civil servant. In autumn 1996, she met Robert at a club. He shared his spy story. Leslie wasn't easily fooled. But a seed was planted. In spring 1998, Robert called Leslie for a few thousand to buy his way out of the agency, promising full repayment. Robert was shocked it actually worked, considering they rarely spoke and lived far apart. He felt incredibly accomplished. In August, he contacted her again, asking for $10,000 to save his life. The Good Friday Agreement brought peace between Britain and Ireland. Killodrang freed IRA members he'd jailed. They were coming for him, needing payoff. Plus, his mother fell ill. He had no time, needing quick cash. Once settled, he'd drive a taxi, repaying debts and caring for her. The devoted son tale worked. Leslie sold her car to fund him. In that moment, Robert was genuinely moved. In return, he gifted her a car, claiming it was a superior's bonus. Actually, he financed it, costing $260 monthly. After gifting it, Leslie took on the payments. 3 months later, she realized the debt. Confronting him, she got 6 words. "Relax, the government pays." Not done. In April 2001, he borrowed more, taking thousands again, swearing the state would refund it all. In total, Leslie gave him $16,000. Maybe guilt, maybe she was tapped out. Robert decided to drop her. No big deal. He had other girlfriends anyway. He met Renata Kist in spring 1999. He'd moved to London with Sarah, working at a dealership, when 7-month pregnant Renata came to buy. Divorced, her ex was in prison. Robert's charm won her over. Learning she was a company director, he vowed to care for her and the baby forever. Under his spell, Renata learned of his spy cover. She traded up, giving him $10,000 from her old car sale, then loaned him $15,000 more, and housed Sarah. 34-year-old lawyer Caroline Cooper was wealthy. She met Robert while car shopping. His advice led her to buy 2 cars, totaling £36,000. The pattern repeated. Except this time, Robert got engaged to Caroline. In February 2002, Caroline noticed $14,000 missing. She knew Robert took it. She was a lawyer. She sued him immediately, demanding $41,000, covering trade-ins, loans, and trip costs. She funded his engagement trip. Sadly, she didn't know he was a pro-Conman, thinking she just picked a bad partner. Police saw only a couple's dispute. They handled these daily. They advised her to settle and move on, like finding someone new, then dropped it. Furious, Caroline investigated on her own. But she was a lawyer, not a detective. Digging into his past took time. Meanwhile, Robert visited police, but instead of backing down, grew bolder. Within a month, he found a new girlfriend, another car buyer, American child psychologist Kimberly Adams. Learning her stepfather won $20 million thrilled him more than winning himself. In August 2002, he successfully proposed to Kimberly. Her parents then got frequent calls for cash. Standard for the past 4 months. They knew their future son-in-law was a spy, and soon she would be too. They were instructed to avoid police. Her failing spy tests raised doubts, but they still mailed retake fees. Time jumped to 2003. Of the first 3 students, only Sarah remained, with no contact for a year. Her father knew early on she was conned, but paid anyway to keep her safe. He called police and hired 3 detectives, finding nothing. But Robert's scam finally caught police attention. Thanks to Caroline's persistence, police found Kimberly's car at his mother's. Realizing Kimberly was under his control, police contacted her parents, but they were too brainwashed to cooperate. In May 2003, seeing police evidence and debt bills, she finally believed them. She agreed to help trap Robert in the UK. Though she'd just wired $22,000. She knew the drill. Within 10 days, the cash call would come. Sure enough, it did. But this time, she didn't wire it, demanding to hand cash directly to her daughter. She'd fly to Heathrow for the drop. Though Robert hesitated, knowing she always paid, he agreed. On May 23rd, at the airport lot, as the mother hugged Kimberly, the arrest began. Robert was finally caught. Hours of questioning yielded nothing. He wouldn't reveal his victims' locations. Later, Kimberly revealed. Their last hideout was France. London headquarters sent an urgent request. On June 4th, with French police, at his former hotel, they found a briefcase containing files on Sarah, Renata, Elizabeth, and Leslie. Using those files, police finally located them. When police found them, all 4 shared one thing: they didn't trust the cops. A month later, when Renata saw Sarah's photo at the station, he finally spoke up. "I do know Sarah. She cleaned my house." Police found Sarah cleaning, ending a 10-year nightmare. It was finally over. As for Elizabeth, police didn't find her until September 15, 2003. She was still writing reports in a designated town, living in a rundown shack. Emaciated and covered in eczema. On June 23, 2005, after an 8-month trial, Robert faced 2 kidnapping, 10 theft, and 8 deception charges. On September 6th, he got life in prison. Everyone thought he'd stay locked up forever, but they all underestimated Robert. Even a 25-year veteran cop admitted, "I've never seen such a skilled con artist." In 2007, Robert appealed. He argued his kidnapping charges should be dropped, claiming he never stopped John or Sarah from leaving. On April 25, 2007, his life sentence was reduced to 9 years. By May 2009, he was released early. In 2011, Robert, alias David Hendy, signed up on a dating site. In 2012, Sandra Clifton had just divorced, ending her 21-year marriage to childhood sweetheart Mark. With her son and daughter grown up, Sandra went online looking for new love. Her daughter Sophie even encouraged it. But this was just another tragedy waiting to happen. She met a wealthy media worker named David. Sandra was so charmed she obeyed him completely. She even believed his cover story as an MI5 agent. Within months, Sandra got a brand new Audi and a family trip to Spain. The tactic worked perfectly. David quickly moved into Sandra's house, taking charge of disciplining the kids. Soon, his strict rules and subtle threats drove them both out. As kids, they were willing to leave if it made their mom happy. But in 2014, Sandra suddenly vanished. never to return. When ex-husband Mark visited one day, he found piles of overdue credit card bills, mortgage notices, court summons, and parking fines, all in Sandra's name. The master bedroom was strange too, windows covered in newspaper, door fitted with an extra lock. Sensing trouble, Mark started digging into David. He found absolutely no records on him. Then he saw news of Robert's release online. And it all clicked. Mark called the police, but getting them to investigate wasn't easy. After all, Sandra was an adult woman who seemed to have left voluntarily. Still, given Robert's record, they agreed to search. They finally tracked the pair down in 2015, demanding to speak with Sandra. They were living in a small French town. Even after police revealed David's true identity, she still refused to go home, snapping back, "I know exactly who I'm with." Police could do nothing. After that, Sandra barely contacted her family. Rare calls were just to ask for money. When her parents passed away, the only daughter didn't even attend the funeral. In 2020, Sandra's kids sold her house, so she took them to court and ultimately won. It was her first time seeing family since vanishing in 2014, and it was in court. After the hearing, she immediately sold the property and vanished again. Her kids couldn't reach her at all. They could only plead on TV for her return. On January 18, 2022, a documentary based on Robert, the puppet master, hunting the ultimate conman, aired. It raised public awareness of this evil con artist. Villagers in Vidalat, France, finally realized how serious it was, and demanded the government take action. Finally, justice caught up. Robert was arrested in France again. On October 20th, 2022, his first trial began. He's charged with attempting to murder a public official. He remains in French custody awaiting trial. Hopefully, he stays locked up this time. That wraps up today's story. Please like, subscribe, and share to support. Your clicks mean everything. I'm Brian, signing off.